Hi everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. So in today's video,
There are men who take pleasure in tormenting women in nature, and we must never make excuses for them. This woman was stuck on a steep ledge after a man lied to her saying he'd take her hiking, but took her mountain climbing instead, and then abandoned her by jumping off a cliff.
As somebody who is scared of heights, I don't know what I would have done in this situation. But also, I know that younger Priscilla would have been in this situation effortlessly. And I would have smiled about it, and I would have even made excuses for him. And, I would have done all of that. I saw the video and I saw myself like younger me in her, right? But, a lot of people had opinions about this. To be honest, I don't want to make it talking too long. I want us to get into the responses because I learned a lot from all the ladies that stitched this video and shared their opinion. I learned a lot and I just had to share it with you ladies. I hope you share it with your friends, your sisters, your cousins, any woman in your life. Let them watch this video because it's very important for the safety of women. In situations like this, I hope this video is helpful because any man who would put you in danger does not care about you, and you should prioritize yourself. Okay, so let's get into the video. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and thank you.
I didn't know we were doing this. You said there wouldn't be a ledge.
Okay, have fun.
Beware of men who will risk your safety and well-being for their own enjoyment. This woman posted several TikToks about the quote-unquote hike a man took her on, which then turned out to be a Via Ferrata, a climbing route in the Swiss Alps. She says she's not outdoorsy, that she hasn't gone on a hike in 3 years, and that he told her that there wouldn't be a ledge, which is an audacious and dangerous lie to tell someone when you take them climbing. Now she tries to make light of the whole situation by making a joke about how he left her there at the end because he wanted to go base jumping, literally diving off a cliff and abandoning her, but that is actually what happened. You can tell even the commenters are in disbelief, asking if this is a joke account, because it is outrageously dangerous to take an unprepared newbie on a Via Ferrata without her knowledge or consent. You can see here how truly steep the fall would be if she was to slip, and people have severely injured themselves and even fallen to their deaths on the Via Ferratas in Switzerland because of equipment failure or because of equipment misuses, which brings me to my next point. He didn't even ensure she's wearing proper equipment. This is what she should be wearing. And notice how she's not even wearing hiking boots because she likely doesn't have any because she does not go hiking. At minimum, she should be wearing a helmet and she should be wearing gloves, but she isn't because she didn't know he'd send her on a climbing trail. And he's gleeful about it too.
You said there wouldn't be a ledge.
Okay, have fun.
Okay.
He's enjoying her distress, and she's trying to laugh through it and be cute about it. A man who acts like this does not have your best interests at heart. He does not care about your wishes, needs, your feelings, even your physical safety at that. And what makes me even more sad for her is that she says at the beginning she's never gone for a hike in Switzerland. This is her first time. He went out of his way to ensure she'd be scared and worried the whole time. What could be a wonderful, cool memory is just going to be a reminder of how this guy deceived her by taking her climbing instead of hiking and made her do it completely unprepared. This is willful neglect. He's laughing at her discomfort, telling her to have fun while she points out, "You didn't tell me we were doing this." The fear and humiliation he's making her experience is intentional. It is meant to do 3 things. 1, make her feel scared and exhausted to break her down. 2, it functions as a litmus test. He is testing how much he can push your boundaries, how much nonsense you're willing to accept from him. If he takes you climbing without your knowledge or consent, will you do it? If he leaves you at the peak to dive off a cliff, will you make jokes for him about it? Or will you call him out on it? Will you refuse? Will you tell him why that's not okay and why you won't do it? He's taking your temperature to see where your boundaries are and how malleable they might be for him. Which brings me to the 3rd reason. He does it to bind her closer to him. Have you ever heard about how you should take someone on an adrenaline-charged activity, like going on a roller coaster ride, so that they associate the exhilarating rush of endorphins with your presence? This is the flip side of the same coin. He caught her off guard and put her in a terrifying and dangerous situation in which she may well have felt like her safety depended on him, even though he's the one that put her through danger to begin with. The high arousal caused by fear and danger can plant the first seed for a trauma bond to take root. I don't blame this woman for wanting to be a good sport or a cool girl and going along with it. This man does not have her best interests at heart, and this is an excellent example for why having strong boundaries is crucial. This man does not care about her feelings or her well-being.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm perplexed by this video because I would never do such things with a man I do not know. Even with a man I do know, I'm not the kind of person that's going to be out here hiking and putting myself in danger or going to isolated places with a man. That's just me. I mean, I watched the original video and she mentioned that it was her first time in Switzerland. I do not know the context as to how she met this date or this man. I don't know if he was a friend or whatever, but the point is he abandoned ship and left her on a mountain. And if you did not see the original video, she pans the camera and you can see, like, you have to climb these like little things. And you've got to go up the mountain even further. I don't even know how she got down from the mountain. I'm asking myself, how did she even get down from the mountain alone? And then in her original video, she was saying how she was shaking. And then with this creator, I believe her name is Desiree, she's, giving the breakdown. But my thing is, here's my take, okay, girls? All sense is not common, unfortunately, okay? But when I made my video about high maintenance standards, safety being one of them, a man should always give you a thorough, bulletproof plan of what you're going to be doing from A to Z. And it's up to you to decide, do I want to do that? Do I like that? Yes or no? Something also to consider is the fact that, well, let me put it this way. Why are you alone in an isolated place? Like a mountain? Or if a guy's out here like, I want to take you on this really nice nature walk and it starts at 5 o'clock. Okay? You don't know this man. He could start at 5 o'clock and this nature walk, okay, is ending at midnight because he abandoned you. And here you are, you don't know how to navigate and you don't have any cell service. Do not put yourself in dumb situations. I don't even know how to really be soft or nice about this because it's like a reality slap. You just have to really, really start thinking for yourself. I might like doing this with a group, with professionals, but maybe not with the man I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I'd make that connection. You also have to understand that just because a man is nice to you, okay, the first few days does not mean that he doesn't have bigger plans for you because he's secretly jealous or he has different ideas, okay, to humble you. You do not know what this man is thinking. So when you are having activity dates with your dinner or your lunch, keep it in public. Okay? Yes, you might go for a nice promenade after dinner, but we're not about to be out here doing a late night drive, on the coast and we're doing all this whatever. You just need to really use your sense. Really pace these men so that you're not out here just openly trusting because we had a couple of really good dates. That's not how this works, okay? She honestly could have been unalived on a flipping mountain for who? For what? Just think about this. What if he pushed her off the mountain? What if he was just like, I don't really know. I don't really care about you. Or what if she tripped? She couldn't get medical attention. Like we have to start thinking about ourselves first, okay? I'm tired of seeing sad videos like this. It could have ended very wrongly for her.
This woman was stuck on a steep ledge after a man lied to her saying he'd take her hiking, but took her mountain climbing instead, and then abandoned her by jumping off a cliff.
This triggered me so much because in the summer of 2021, I took a group trip with my ex, his friends, and one of the other girls that his friends was dating at the time to Alberta, Canada, which is in the Rocky Mountains. And so there's mountains there. Obviously, we were planning on doing a hike. So I think it was the second or third day of the trip that we're like, all right, let's do this hike. I have been hiking before, but the hikes that I was used to was like an hour to get up and an hour to get down at the very most, okay? Because there's no mountains on the east coast of Canada. So we start on this hike, and I think maybe 20 minutes in, me and the other girls start to get tired, and we're like, guys, we need to stop for some water. So we stop for some water, okay? We stop for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe, then we keep going. Then the next 20 minutes we stop again, and at this point we're like huffing and puffing because it's July, it's summer, it's hot, and we're hiking up an actual mountain. And I think it was like an hour of us stopping every 20 minutes before the guys started to get annoyed at us. And they were annoyed at us because we weren't athletic enough to keep up with them, and we had to keep stopping every 20 minutes to drink water and catch our breath. Because we're girls, we're not hikers, we're not professional athletes. Like, what? Anyways, so I'm hiking up the mountain, and I hear two of my ex's friends talking behind me. They're like a couple feet behind, and they're like, ha ha ha, look at her ankles caving in. And my ankles actually were caving in because the shoes that I had worn were not supportive enough for me to hike 2 hours up a mountain. It took us 2 hours to get up there. 2-hour hike, okay? And by the time we got up there, don't get me wrong, the views were absolutely beautiful, but I was exhausted. Like, my legs felt like straight up jelly, and I was so mad that these guys thought it was so funny to poke jokes at us and try to say that we're not as athletic as them because we couldn't keep up with their pace. What, you want me to be an antelope, a gazelle, prancing up the mountain, even though this is my first time hiking on an actual mountain? And also, we weren't under a time restraint of any sort, so it's like, what's the rush? Like, if I have to stop every 20 minutes to take a breath and drink some water, that shouldn't be a problem. It was still daylight by the time we got up there, and it was still daylight by the time we got back down the mountain. And we did that on purpose so that we wouldn't get stuck out there in the dark. But anyways, after that trip ended and I went back home, I decided I was gonna do the 75 hard challenge. And I don't know if you guys were on TikTok during that time, but the 75 hard is basically no alcohol, no smoking, reading every day, and working out twice a day, I think for 45 minutes each or something like that. And I had never worked out consistently. Like, I have had periods in my life where I've been to the gym, but that comment from my ex's friends motivated me so much to never be athletically weak again. Like, I was like, I'm getting in the gym, I'm gonna start lifting weights, I'm gonna fix the way I walk, I'm gonna have more endurance, because I absolutely will not be roasted by a man for not being as athletic and not being able to keep up with him. So when I saw that video, it made me so sad for that girl, because she doesn't even realize that she's been humiliated, and she's actually defending the guy who took her on the hike just to humiliate her, just to abandon her, just to be like, haha, weak women, you're alone in the woods by yourself, haha, bye. And that's why you should just avoid hiking dates with men. If you want to go hiking, go with your girls, okay? Go with your mom, go with your dad, go with your cousins, go with your family. Don't go on hikes with these guys, even if you're in a relationship with them. Don't go. But anyways, if it wasn't for my ex's friends, I would not have been motivated to get into the best shape of my life, so I guess it wasn't for nothing. As for my ex, he didn't even get to enjoy this because I broke up with him a couple months after that anyway, because he never stood up for me and it gave me the permanent ick.
And we must never make excuses for them.
Go back and watch that entire video, please, and take heed, take warning from this person's experience and this person's analysis of what actually happened. But I wanted to speak really quick on the idea that women are manipulative as opposed to men. While any human being can be manipulative, I think that we need to take a much closer look at the way that men can go out of their way and have been going out of their way for centuries to cause emotional and physical harm to women in the way that this man did to this woman. No experienced hiker or mountain climber would ever choose to take a novice on such a dangerous journey. Everyone needs to have significant knowledge about what they're doing and experience to keep the both of them safe. This person put her in a dangerous situation on purpose, and she now feels that she has to laugh it away to keep from crying, essentially. And so that she doesn't seem as if she is incompetent, which is what I'm sure that man was expecting. That isn't the thing. No one will ever take you on such a dangerous journey if they know that you are inexperienced, unless they want you to get hurt.
If you click on the comment, I've already done 2 videos on this, but she now posted a follow-up explaining, or rather excusing, what happened to her.
There were definitely some mistakes made in terms of safety.
She minimizes the issue, saying that mistakes were made in terms of safety. The way we phrase things matters. She chooses the passive tense. It shifts the focus away from the person who made those quote-unquote mistakes, which is him. She does this to avoid having to point out the obvious. There were no mistakes made. He endangered her on purpose, but we'll get to that. She excused him putting her at risk because he said that he overestimated her ability. Notice how, while she's anxious not to blame him, he had no trouble blaming her by going, well, I thought you were athletic, and I thought you could handle it, guess not. Watch out for men like this using obliviousness, weaponized incompetence, and blame shifting when they get called out for their behavior. It happens like clockwork. This is an utter lie on his part, because while she got out a map to show how she only did the easy part, I actually found the website of the exact via ferrata they went on, and it clearly states that you must do this with a guide if this is your first time, and that even the easier parts are not suitable to learn climbing. He knew full well that no part of this trail was safe for her, especially considering what she was wearing. Let's also not forget that while she risked her life in sneakers with a single carabiner, he was fully decked out and laughing at her while recording this. She then says she didn't post it to make fun of the situation, but that's not true. She engaged almost exclusively with the commenters who were poking fun at the situation, and she continued to do so even today. She also leaves out crucial context when claiming that he rescued her after he abandoned her on the platform, but did he? I'm sure he promised her he'd come back and made his way to her, but it's far more complicated than that. Not that it would have made a difference anyway, since he was no help to begin with. He blocked her from going back up that ladder and laughed at her terror. If she slipped, there was nothing he could have done to save her. But let's not forget, she literally showed us herself shaking as she made her way back. The ladder in both videos is the same. First she had to climb down to reach the platform, then she had to climb back up after he abandoned her. In the video I showed you, she says,
I think I'm gonna wait here.
And she confirmed in the comments that the gloves she's now wearing are his. He gave her his equipment before he dipped, so that she could feel empowered to go back all alone. He might have even made some grand gesture out there to make her feel bad, because now he has to come get her without his gloves. And you can bet she was alone there for a long time. I'm about to show you where he may have landed after he jumped off that cliff, and he's not going to rush to her rescue. He didn't even care to make sure she was safe when she was with her to begin with. For God's sake, you think he was worried about how she gets back? Of course not. He gave her his equipment because he wanted her to try and climb back by herself, to make sure she really felt that fear, abandonment, and loneliness in his absence, followed by the relief when she's with him again. It's emotional manipulation 101. If he told her that he'd come to pick her up after his jump, and all she got to do is wait an hour for him, well, that's just the perfect excuse, and gives him plausible deniability if she ends up hurting herself or even falling to her death. All she had to do was wait for him. After all, he was going to get her. Well, she's terrified and alone on this platform, 2,000 feet above the ground, not knowing if and when he'll be back. No wonder she tried to climb back by herself in fear, but hey, he told her he was going to come back and get her, right? So it's totally okay. He might have even met her halfway. She was just impatient. She tried making light of this behavior when she saw the direction her comments were taking, with many people pointing out how he threatened her life and how she should stay away from him. That's when she switched to defending his behavior, despite clearly being hurt and terrorized by what he did to her. Can you imagine how it would feel to sit by yourself at this cliff and wait for even just 20 minutes? Would you wait for your knight in shining armor, who put you into this life-threatening situation to begin with? Let's be honest, was never any help anyways. Or would you try to get back to safety on your own? This man is a threat to her. He meant to make her feel unsafe. Abusive people like him like to assert their power over their victims in nature because they are away from their familiar environment. There is no witnesses, and the dangers of nature give them plausible deniability should their victim get seriously injured. They do this to wear down their victims' defenses through exhaustion, to see how far they can push them, and how much control they have over them, and most importantly, to bind their victim to them by traumatizing them. He liked to watch her suffer. The fact that she's anxious to have people know that they're just childhood friends, despite framing her videos in a way that makes it seem like they're dating, means nothing. If her boundaries are this weak around friends, do they even exist in a romantic relationship at this point? And this also shows one of the most humiliating parts of being a victim of abuse. There is taking the abuse, and then there is having to cover up for the person who did this to you. Don't lie to protect an abuser.
Yes, I agree with each and every single one of them and everything that they said, especially Miss Desiree. her breakdown of this whole thing. Like, I'm so happy that she made this video, and she taught me a lot. I'm so grateful that she made this video, and I'm so grateful that there's social media these days, because they give me a chance to share the things that I would love to say. They say the things that I cannot articulate, if it makes sense. Okay, so all I'm going to add to this is, don't be afraid to be the villain in somebody else's story. Okay? Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to prioritize yourself. Don't be afraid or shy or smile politely and just, carry on with it. If they cared about you and your safety and your well-being, they wouldn't subject you to something that may cause you harm. Okay, they would prioritize your safety, like she said. They would put you first. They will consider you. Like the other lady said, they will tell you exactly what is going to happen. And don't be afraid to ask questions when it comes to you. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, where are we going? What are we doing? What does it entail? I am afraid of height. I do not know how this thing works, and I'm not going to subject myself to it. Okay, if he feels bad about it, then that's it. I mean, he's not a person for you. He's not a person for you. Because if he were, he wouldn't feel bad about it. Matter of fact, he will prioritize your safety and how, your well-being generally. And he wouldn't even subject you to it. Don't make excuses for them. If they are wrong, they are wrong. Okay? I know I've been there, I've done that. I know how it feels like when, people are like, oh, it can never be me. It won't be me. And so on and so forth. And so you're like, okay, because you don't want to come across as someone who is maybe daft, you make excuses about what happened. And I know what that feels too. But always, always, always put yourself first. Because most men do put themselves first. They don't consider you, they consider themselves. Their egos, their feelings, everything has to do with them. So, no. You start putting yourself first. I know, as a recovering people pleaser, I know it's going to be challenging in the beginning, but you get there, okay? Just be comfortable with being the bad person. Be comfortable with being the bad person. That's the first step to it. Just be okay. Tell yourself, I'm going to be the bad person. I'm going to be the villain. I no longer am going to please you. Okay? I'm going to please myself. I'm not going to do things that will make you feel comfortable or you look good. I'm going to make things that make me feel comfortable and me look good. All right? Because if you get those two hurdles out of the way, being a villain, being called a bad person, you'll be fine. The more people who choose not to deal with you because you have set your boundaries, and the better. The quality people who would, prioritize you would come. All right. But anyway, let me know all your thoughts about all of this. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again with another video. Take care of yourselves. Bye.